We all know her as the queen of daytime talk. The richest and most influential African American of her time, Oprah Winfrey, has had an incredible rise to fame. But this woman's journey is far from being easy. Growing up in poverty, being abused, facing racism, dealing with bullies and overcoming all the odds, she built a $2.5 billion empire while inspiring millions around the world. So how exactly did she do it? Welcome to my channel. And today let's find out how Oprah became a self-made billionaire. The story of Oprah is one that dates back to the 1950s when Oprah Gayle King was born on January 29, 1954, to a teen mom, Vernia. Her father was a coal miner who left the family shortly after Oprah was born. Oprah grew up with her maternal grandmother, Hattie Mae, and she always felt different. She didn't connect with other kids at school and often found herself fighting. One day, at age 6, Oprah told her grandmother that she wanted to be adopted by her white adoptive family across the street. After hearing this, Hattie replied, "You will never amount to anything." These words stuck with Oprah for a long time, fueling her desire to prove her grandmother wrong. She started doing well at school and blossomed into a bright student. At age 13, Oprah began menstruating but didn't have access to menstrual products. She used rags instead, which made her classmates bully her even more. She recalls these years as the worst time of her life, filled with abuse and trauma. While growing up, Oprah noticed that her mother was going through a lot. After her parents divorced, her dad married another woman and moved away. While Oprah remained with her grandmother, her mother and her brother moved to another city. Vernon had to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet. One day, Vernon called Oprah and asked her to come live with her. Although Oprah had a great relationship with her grandmother, she jumped at the chance to be with her mother. However, things didn't turn out the way Oprah hoped. Her stepfather was abusive and he treated Oprah like a servant. He would force her to do household chores and often beat her for no reason. The only time her mom stood up for her was when her stepfather touched her inappropriately. Determined to get out of the house, Oprah focused on school and graduated high school at age 16. As soon as she finished high school, she went straight to college. While there, she majored in communications and performing arts. In 1971, at age 17, Oprah gave birth to her first child, a baby boy she named Kanan. Unfortunately, he was stillborn. Grief-stricken, Oprah blamed herself and threw herself into her studies. To take her mind off the tragedy, she got a job at a local radio station and quickly became the youngest ever anchor of a local TV news magazine show. In 1983, she landed the gig of a lifetime, becoming the host of a struggling talk show called People Are Talking. It was low budget and not very popular. However, Oprah saw potential in it. Under her leadership, the show went from talking about random things to having more substance. She booked guests with interesting stories and the show gradually gained popularity. Within a year, the show's rating shot up and it became the highest-rated program on daytime television. This success attracted the attention of the executives at ABC, who offered Oprah a contract to produce a new talk show. Thus, The Oprah Winfrey Show was born. With the support of ABC and her new production team, Oprah took risks and booked guests with controversial stories. She also had experts on set to guide her through the conversation. She once interviewed a man who claimed to be an alien, which resulted in one of the most watched episodes of all time. With each passing year, her popularity grew. By 1986, the show was pulling in over 30 million viewers every week. Also that year, she founded Harpo Productions and took full ownership of her show. This decision turned out to be a huge turning point in Oprah's career. But what really made her rich? In fact, Oprah had multiple sources of income. First, she had merchandise sales. Whenever Oprah promoted a product on her show, it would immediately become a bestseller. It seemed as though Oprah had a magic wand that could instantly turn any product into a super hit. She could sell books like The Secret, The Power of Positive Thinking, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, and many more. There was also the famous Oprah's Book Club, which helped authors become overnight sensations. When Oprah recommended a book, it would immediately shoot to the top of the bestseller list. She was so influential that publishers would go to great lengths to get their books featured on Oprah's book club. They knew that once Oprah endorsed a book, they would earn millions of dollars in profits. Next, there was the famous O magazine, which reached 2 million subscribers in less than a year. Then there were endorsements and sponsorships. In the early days, Oprah's show relied heavily on sponsorships to fund its production. As the show gained popularity, so did its sponsorship deals. Companies would pay a lot of money to advertise their products on Oprah's show because they knew that she had a massive and loyal audience. In fact, Oprah's net worth grew $300 million every year. And by 2002, she became the first billionaire in daytime television history. And since then, her wealth has grown to $2.5 billion. If you're wondering how she became the richest African-American woman of her time, well, here's the answer. Oprah says her incredible wealth comes from the fact that she has been able to tap into the desires and needs of women. She understood their pain points and created products and services that addressed those pain points. This allowed her to generate substantial revenue, which in turn made her incredibly wealthy. Additionally, Oprah's show and magazine often featured stories of hope and inspiration. She would highlight individuals who had overcome adversity and achieved success, which resonated with many people. This created a loyal audience that supported her ventures and contributed to her overall success. Now, here's something we all should learn from Oprah. Early on in her career, Oprah realized the importance of controlling the media she worked in. When she took over People Are Talking, she made it her own by changing the format and booking more interesting guests. Similarly, when she started The Oprah Winfrey Show, she ensured that she owned the show outright. This meant that she had complete control over the content and could make decisions that were in the best interest of her audience. For example, she wasn't afraid to tackle controversial topics or feature guests who had alternative viewpoints. She also wasn't afraid to take risks and experiment with new things. For instance, she once booked a psychic on her show, which was a huge hit and helped to boost her ratings. By having control over the media she worked in, Oprah was able to create content that was authentic to her and her audience, which ultimately led to her success. Another thing we can learn from Oprah is that she had the courage to speak up and demand what she deserved. When she started out in the industry, she was often paid less than her white counterparts and was expected to take on more responsibilities without additional pay. However, she wasn't afraid to stand up for herself and negotiate for better terms. For example, when she was hosting People Are Talking, she was paid just $60,000 per year. However, when the show was picked up by ABC, she was initially offered a salary of $100,000. She turned down the offer and negotiated for a higher salary, eventually landing a deal worth $150,000 per year. Additionally, she was able to secure ownership of the show, which ultimately led to its massive success and her own personal wealth. By speaking up and demanding what she deserved, Oprah was able to create a media empire that changed the landscape of daytime television forever. I think Oprah's story is a powerful reminder that if you work hard, stay true to yourself and are willing to take risks, then you can achieve anything you set your mind to. She went from being a young girl who was abused and had little hope for the future to becoming one of the most successful and influential women of our time. We should all strive to be like Oprah in that regard. What inspires you about Oprah's story? And what lessons have you learned from her life? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos about amazing stories of self-made billionaires.